Hello everybody, it is Ebontis and we are back. I've been playing for quite a while, but still not as much as some people I've seen. But in the early game, there's a lot of pals. There's a whole bunch in here, and there's certain ones that I want you guys to look out for in early, middle, kind of this is your first 25 levels or so. I know I'm level 30, so I've been exploring. I truly went exploring, and I probably would not recommend anybody to do what I did over here. But one thing is exploring is a good idea. You're going to bump into some stuff that's higher level than you, like a 23 King P.E.K.K.A that will absolutely kick your butt. Then you'll find like a level 11 Chillette that you can take on pretty early. Level 15 Pin King, find some fire, you'll probably cook him pretty quick. Catress is cool, but again, 23 is going to take a while. So it really depends on how far you wander. You might find some stuff that's way out of your league, and you might find some stuff that's actually closer to your level than you would think. Like in a level 11 over here, not so bad. 32, completely different story. Level 11 over here. So it's like, it's not really consistent where you're going to find the big and small level guys. But as you wander more, you'll kind of at least mark them so you know you can go back to them. So I do recommend exploring. Now, when you start out, there's some things that you may not think about. You're going to see things like Cattiva first, and you're like, all right, cool. Now, there's a reason you want to catch 10 of everything, because you're going to get that capture bonus. First time you capture one, 5 of 10, you get a decent bonus, and then 10 of 10, you get a bonus as well. But any of those first 10 that you capture are all going to give you a bonus, and it's how you level up with decent experience depending on how you have your service setting set up. The thing to make yourself aware of is certain pals are going to be really beneficial for different things. Foxpsarks, for example, when activated, the Huggy Fire equips to the player and transforms into a flamethrower. So level 6, you can buy the Foxpsarks harness, you can pick up Foxpsarks and spray fire, and it is real strong. So early on, very offensive powerhouse. Now the other thing about Foxpsarks to pay attention to is the work suit ability. All of your stuff is going to have different jobs. So when you get over here and you look at your farm, you've got farming, so you've got wheat. Over there's the furnace, so you've got kindling. I've got a mill, so I need water to turn the mill. You've got farming, which requires watering and gathering and plant and farming. You've got a ranch. Certain things assigned to a ranch do different things. Then over here, you've got your logging site and your digging site. Fortunately, there's a whole bunch of wood on the ground. I'm going to go set that over here for a sec. And all of this stuff is going to require jobs, but there's an efficiency depending on who you have out and what you need done. If I need cooking done, or if I need to turn ore into ingots, and if I come over here and I want to make some ingots, well, only certain things can do that, and it's things that are able to spit fire. This guy will come over here and cook. Same thing for your actual cooking recipes and stuff like this. You have the ability to cook. You also have some things that will just do handiwork. Maybe I want to build a specific thing. Okay, handiwork is one of those things that requires certain pals. Not all of them are going to do handiwork. Some are just good at watering or whatever their job is. So when it comes to your pals in different places, whether it's combat, in your base, it really does pay to check who's where and who's doing what. Now, some have some really cool stuff. Cattiva, for example, is, for one, handiwork, so they're going to help you build your early parts of your base. Gathering, so if you are doing any farming and stuff, they're going to be doing gathering. Mining is also really important because as soon as you have a stone working site, they're going to sit there and just mine as long as they can. And transporting is just moving stuff from your base to chests. Not a bad thing to have around. But the thing that you may not think of or notice or realize, Cat Helper. When in your team, Cattiva helps carry supplies, increasing the player's max carrying capacity. So right now I'm sitting at 700. If I had a full team of Cattivas, or at least say you had 4, and then you had one really offensive pal like Foxpsarks. This is going to be your fighter. And then you have 4 Cattivas. Each Cattiva you have in your party is worth 50 weight, which, as you guys know, is going to be 4 different levels of stats. Maybe you're working on stamina, trying to get a little more health, but maybe you want to go on some farming runs. Maybe you need to collect a lot of stone early, a lot of trees. You can find the Cattivas really, really early. I mean, they're walking around just the opening areas. You're going to find them in truly the initial spots, whether it's over there, all through here, just these opening areas, you'll find those. So right down there's one. So if you end up catching 4 of those, which not that hard to do early on, put 4 of those in your party. And then if you have one thing that maybe is offensive while you're fighting stuff that's slightly bigger, like Foxpsarks, you get the harness and you're good. You can go around and carry a lot more stuff back to your base. And especially when you don't have a mount early on and you've got to do a lot more things by foot or by fast travel, it really does make a difference. So Cattiva, understated for how much it can do. Handiwork, gathering, mining, and transporting. But if you're going out on farming runs, throw 3 or 4 of these in your party, and you will thank me because you're going to be able to go out and do a lot more farming, gather a lot more supplies, and be able to just do it less. Because believe me, I made this mistake and didn't do it, and you really can gather quite a bit. Now, so we covered Foxpsarks offensive. Basically a flamethrower that's a beast. And the only thing that will do kindling, which you are going to need as soon as you start getting into ore and ingots, kindling is a must. And that's pretty much just your fire guys. Now, water. You've got handiwork and transporting is fine, but watering comes into play for all of your farming, gathering here. Like, so I've got 2 berry farms. I've got this wheat field. All of those require first, like, seeding or planting. Then they need watering, which is a very specific type. And then they need gathering, which is the harvesting part afterwards. 3 different tasks for farming. Watering is very specific, but you'll also notice watering is going to be required right here on these 2 things. So if I need, this requires watering, and this requires watering. And it's the ability to have like a water wheel on an object, and they spit water just like this, but they spit it at this, and they actually rotate it and cause whatever the object is to function. So watering has multiple tasks that you might not always consider, but it is one of those things that really can make a difference. So trying to find at least one watering guy early will actually make a difference. You don't need a ton. I haven't found them to be massive. Now, if you go to your survival guide and you're fighting certain things, you'll notice water is good against fire. If you find something fire that seems to be difficult to fight, having a water thing with you to weaken it is good. Fire is good against ice and grass, though, so, you know, make of that what you will. All right, so if you can find one Fuak, and the nice thing is about this PAL deck is you can see where they're at. So you can see the Cattiva is truly all over the opening part of the base. Truly, just everywhere in the starting area, you'll find Cattivas. Not hard to find. Lamb balls, chipmunks, pretty much the same place, or the chickpeas, same place. Lift monks and the Tansy, they are pretty similar. So you'll notice when you come down here and zoom in, we've got just kind of down off the opening spot, a little bit north of it, you've got the Tansies and the lift monks, pretty much in the same spot, also over here. These 2 are cool because they do a lot of stuff at your base. Planting, lumbering, so they'll work on actually getting wood from your kind of logging site, medicine production, and the difference here is Tansy is transporting. But they both do planting and gathering. So if you have like a lift monk and a Fuak, you have the ability to do all of your farming that you need because you have the planting first, then you have the watering, then you have the gathering, and then if you have Tansy, then you'd probably also have transporting. So it's not just sitting there on the farm. So if you could have a Fuak and a Tansy managing your farms, you're good there for a little while. Have a Foxpsarks, that's kindling. And Cattiva, take a few of those with you so you've got some carrying capacity. These are just in the first 10, and there's a lot of functionality to the PALs, and I think that's why this game has a little bit of the uniqueness and kind of addiction that it does, because the PALs give so much more depth to this thing, honestly, than I kind of would have thought. Now, the Pingalettes, these are going to be in certain areas. You've got them kind of up and down this middle section, pretty much once you get off the hill. And the Pin King, it's not a lot of them. You got a few over here. And then if you come out to the map, the Pin King is also here. You'll notice him right up here. 114, negative 351. Pretty much from the starting base, go north and west. Kind of in this section right here, you'll find Pin King. He's in a little mini dungeon. And it's like a boss and 3 others. If you have a decently leveled Foxpsarks, you can cook him really fast. Now, if you get Pin King or Pingalette, you'll notice they do one unique thing. But Pin King is legit. Handiwork level 2. Any structure you build around your base, now handiwork level 2 is going to be more efficient. Transporting, taking things to your storage chest much quicker. Mining level 2, now we're cooking. Watering level 2, if you start building other structures. Cooling, if you start getting to the point where you can actually build a cooler and preserving some of your food, he's going to be one of the initial ones who can do that. So of the first like 11, Spark it. Generating electricity, you don't get to that till like around the level I'm at. Not too much is going on. Electricity is cool because you come down here and you get to elements and you look at what is electricity good for? Electricity is good against water. There are some efficient water ones that you need to attack. So getting him on your team offensively for Spark It, that'd probably be the place I'd put him. And again, it increases the power of electric pals. Not too much else is going to be coming out of him. But then you get down here to Pin King. While fighting together, fire pals drop more items when defeated. And there's these things called fire organs. Come up to Foxpsarks, for example. Fire organs or flame organs are useful for certain things that you're going to build and technology pieces up this way. So you need a flame organ to build the harness. You need 5 of those. And as you go, if you get to a tropical outfit, anything heat resistance need flame organs. So if you're going to farm those things, bringing Pin King with you, you're going to get more fire pals. So reading the I know this is like read the subtext of the guy. It does truly matter. Now, if you come down here a little bit more, Vixy is very unique. Now, Vixy, if you look on the map, pretty much one main spot right here. So you come down your main hill, kind of head a little left, and this whole middle section in here is what you're looking for. The reason Vixy is so important is what you're going to be able to do is take Vixy, and you got to build a ranch for it to be a thing. But you just take Vixy and assign Vixy to a ranch. So I'm going to switch out right here. So take this Vixy. I'm going to swap out this guy because he seems to be giving me issues. Pick him up, walk him over here. And all you do is just throw them at what you want them at. So if I throw her in here, she's assigned to the ranch. Now Vixy is going to go around and find random stuff. And when she grazes, the biggest thing that she is going to find, if you leave her alone for a while, you're going to come back to a supply of Pal Spheres that you don't even know what to do with. And especially if you get a couple of those, if you're like, I'm low on Pal Spheres, but I've got enough to go out for like one run, but I've got a couple Vixies, throw 2 of them into the farm, and you're going to come back to a just pile of Pal Spheres and be pretty much set for a while. So if you ever need to farm Pal Spheres, some gold as well, Vixy is extremely good at that. And kind of a unique one that you can get some Pal Spheres up, massive supply of those, and some other stuff. So that's why Vixy, while probably not anything crazy, a little gathering, a little farming, if you build a ranch and leave her in there for a while, you will be pretty good. Daydream's a little unique. Daydream is one of the ones where, while in a team, appears near the player, follows up the player's attacks with magic bullets. But if you get her harness, they're his and hers. Just go look at the symbols. So the collar for Daydream. If Daydream is in your team, it will stay by your side and attack enemies in tandem. So take an example. You have 1 Foxpsarks, for example, and then you have 4 Daydreams, and you have the harness. Well, all 4 of the Daydreams are going to be out all the time. And then if you summon your Foxpsarks, you have 5 pals fighting for you at the same time. I don't know of a lot of other ones that do that. So if you do get a couple Daydreams leveled up and you're going to go fight something, this is 3 different things. And especially if it's weak against dark, which you got to find the right things that are. But if you're going against anything neutral and you need some dark damage, you can have 5 Daydreams out at the same time and you're going to cook. So not a bad thing. Reshore is one of the first things that you can actually ride as a mount. Also, the Hardhead, when you charge at, say, ore piles and stone piles, you'll actually take a bit of a chunk out of those, and you'll mine like 10 at a time when you charge. So it's a way to mine. Not the most efficient, I'll tell you. You can cover some ground, but if you cover some ground and hit a rock along the way, you'll get some free mining without using the durability of your weapons. So pretty simple, but kind of cool stuff. Very simple, basic mining. And there's something to be said for a specialized pal. Sometimes you'll find the ones that I was telling you about up here, like Tansy, where they do 5 different things. Sometimes they get distracted. They do some planting, then they do some gathering, then they help you on a job, then they go find some trees, then they transport some stuff. If you want to make sure somebody is just focused on one thing and one thing only, mining, and that is all. Well, if you send him to work in your base, he is going to do one thing. Just mine, get some sleep, eat, and mine. That is it. So you're always going to have somebody working on your mine, no distractions at all. Not a bad thing sometimes to have some focus like that. Nox, that's more about dark damage, nothing too crazy. Fuddler. Dire Howl. This is not too hard to find. You just kind of come over here and head to this western section over here. Kind of come down in this region. Pretty much all over here, or if you go wandering up in here, you're going to find a ton of them. The idea is they are faster than most mounts, And then there is the ability for a lot of creatures to get something called Swift. And that will allow them to move 30% faster. So if you get a Dire Howl, and you got to capture a lot of them anyway. Unfortunately, I have been unlucky. I have 15 of them, and still not one with Swift. But if you can get, and it's an early thing that you can unlock too, like level 9, not even level 10, level 9 harness, you can ride Dire Howl faster than most ground mounts all the time. And if you can find one with Swift, you will probably be faster than most things on the ground on a consistent basis than just about anything. Now, there are some other cool mounts. Get down here to Etheric Deer. It's another cool one, but again, also very specialized. If you want something in your base that is doing nothing but getting you, chopping trees for wood, right here, lumbering level 2, leave it in your base, you're good. Now, Etheric Deer can do something kind of cool. So if I get on I can jump on. They have a double jump. Nothing else really notice has a lot of double jumping going on. Kind of a cool thing. Now, the other thing that Etheric Deer can do is this charge. And this is a way, for one, if you just run into stuff, truly just like bump into stuff with your antlers, you'll do damage. Now, I won't do it to that, but just any pal that you run into, you'll just damage them by running into them. But you also have this. It's like this kind of hyperspeed thing that allows you to cover a lot of ground, and then you can still run pretty quick. So if you get one of these with Swift, also a very good mount to consider using. I have been unlucky and just cannot get much with Swift. But if you can get a Direwolf with Swift, or an Etheric Deer with Swift, you're going to be in pretty good shape. But again, Etheric Deer, specializing in lumbering. And then if you come back up here to the Boar, specializing in mining. 2 of those working in your base, they will do one job, not get distracted, do anything else. And you've also got a couple of these like Kilmari, which is a nighttime creature. You know they're nighttime if you're wandering around at nighttime, you see them, fight them, capture them, whatever. And then you go look for their habitat and it says habitat unknown. Well, the reason it'll be habitat unknown is typically because it's a nighttime thing. Now, celery, you can see these things are kind of near water in a couple different places. You always find them by water. These have a cool ability for you to kind of improve your glide. So you're going to be able to get a glider so you can float. Well, the celery, if you put it in your party, which I'm probably saying it wrong, celery, it's going to allow you to glide for long periods of time with the pal. And then when the pal is done, you can switch over to your own glider and glide farther. So it's kind of like a double glide situation. So if you're doing a lot more exploring, you get up high and you want to glide to another area or cover some ground, gliding is a pretty good way to go until you start getting a flying mount. And when you get a flying mount, it's a game changer, but gliding for a while is what you're going to do. There's things like cows. Put them on a ranch, they make milk. That is pretty much all they do. Not much else. Very simple. Mossanda is like legit, by the way. Level 2 in planting, handiwork, lumbering, pretty much works tail off there. But when you get down to there, but now this is level 24, you can see. But this is just one of those things. Fires a grenade launcher when ridden. Absolute beast thing. Completely crazy and hilarious to look at. Now, the 2 that I mentioned before, and this is why you also have to kind of pair the Lift Monk or the Tansy with their technology. When you come to, say, look, right here, 11 and 12. Lift Monk, submachine gun made especially for Lift Monk. Activate its partner skill, and Lift Monk will ride on your head and fire at enemies with a submachine gun. Absolutely hilarious. Tansy, activate its partner skill, and Tansy will enter gunner mode and begin shooting nearby enemies. You would think these 2 are not very great for attacking until you unlock their technology down here a little bit later. All of a sudden, having them in your party, you can put in some work. So don't sleep on those 2. Very good in your base, but then when you unlock, because you'll get them early. Like, you can go get them first, like, couple exploration runs. But then when you get up to 11 or 12 and you unlock this type of stuff, oh, that's kind of a game changer fun. So that's why it benefits you getting one with better stats or passive perks and those things. Then when you unlock an assault rifle for a monkey, it's something to witness. I'll just say that. Come down here for a couple more and we'll wrap this thing up. Nightwing, absolutely must. It is truly going to be your first flying mount. Now you'll notice the habitat is truly just down the hill. Even right where I am, you'll sometimes see a Nightwing flying around. As soon as you're down, kind of almost in this area, you'll see it in the air. All you got to do is just hit it out of the air one time. It'll usually come down to your level and then fight you on your level. And then depending on what you have with it, you should be able to take it down and capture it. It is the first flying mount. And your technology comes pretty early too. Yep. So level 15. That's your first flying mount option at all. The next flying mount that I have seen that I've got is down here at 21. Depending on how fast you're leveling stuff up, makes a difference. So it will stay by your side and attack enemies in tandem. So I got another one. So Dazzy, which is one I think I got from an egg, is going to work like Daydream, and that's going to be one that helps you out. But Nightwing is legit. Your first flying mount. This is the way I made this entire trip as a flying mount. Went around the entire outside. It was too hot because I didn't have armor to help with heat resistance. But I went around the outside, was checking for the little green statues, the lift monk effigies, so I could level up the effectiveness on my pal spheres. And I just went around this whole entire area. I found a ton of eggs. I've got this egg over here that's cooking that needs like 2 hours over here. This thing, it's going to take a while. But that's where I got like an extremely large egg. So I'm cooking with that one. And then as you go through, there's just going to be more. So just check and see. This is kind of your early guys that you want to look out for. But again, look and see. Handiwork gathering, cool. While at the base, increases the work efficiency if working at a weapons workbench. So if you have a lot of weapons to make, or you're making a bunch of... Maybe you need to make a bunch of bullets. You just unlocked guns for the first time. You need to make a gun. You need to make a bunch of bullets, whatever it may be. When that gets to be a point, then, okay, remember, Ribbunny, put her as a worker in your base, and she will come over and help, and you'll be able to do that stuff faster. All of these things will have just a little bit more of something that you may not catch. See, like the RSOX is cool, because now it's kindling level 2. That's going to be much faster when I'm working on a whole bunch of ore and ingots and stuff, if you can find one of these. Now, granted, you got to go exploring. As you can see, I did. Went kind of the wrong way, and I probably found this guy from an egg or something else. But when you bump into all these random guys that you'll find, like there's Drumud. He does mining, also does watering, transporting. He looks like a whale, but a mud whale. There's tons of stuff to look forward to. So, I mean, B-Guard is probably one of the last ones. It'll take you a while to come over here, and these guys are like level 22 and 23. And then the Eliza B is like 28. They're all in this area, but they're going to be a while till you get there. But picture a bee. It's literally a worker bee. Planting, handiwork, lumbering, medicine, transporting, farming, gathering. They do it all. And bees are actually one of the only things that make honey. And honey is used to make a cake, which is used for breeding. And when you get to breeding, you put a male and a female of any species. You can crossbreed in this thing over here. And you have to put a cake in here. And if you have a male and a female of whatever species it is in here, yep, not enough cake, not enough male and female present. Put them all in here, let them do their thing for a while. You're going to get some eggs that come out from their incubators, and you can get a whole combination of species that you may not have even seen yet. But you have to get honey first. So if I've got honey stocking up right now, I've got milk, I've got eggs, I've got wheat. All of those things go into making a birthday cake, and you need cake for breeding, and that is a whole different entertainment value in itself. So at some point, when you'll probably get to bees around the same time you unlock breeding, and everything just goes crazy farther. I mean, you'll have a bunch of stuff that you'll find, some very cool things, and there are really unique things that a lot of them can do. But early on, sometimes they just break and they're all hanging out in a tree, and literally all you need to do is just literally just swap them. If you ever have anything that gets stuck up in a tree, whatever's going on, what else is up there? Those guys are up there for whatever reason. Just swap them with something, and you'll usually get them out of a tree. There you go. And they're back on it. So I hope this gives you an idea of some of the early ones to look for. And again, as you explore, you'll typically be able to see, once you've interacted with one, where their habitat is, what their work suitability is. Pay attention to their partner skill. They are beasts. Notice, while in a team, Eliza B's stats will be increased. Again, teamwork, worker bee, they really leaned into some stuff on these things, and they kind of play into a lot of the jokes or, kind of stereotypes for a lot of these things. So if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like below, leave a comment if you've got some really amazing ones that I may have forgot. I tried to go more early game than late game, so these are all ones that you're probably going to be seeing level 1 through 20-ish. Flying mounts are game changers. As soon as you start riding around on either a direwolf or an etheric deer, those are awesome. And then if you just optimize your base, biggest thing I can tell you real quick before you go, when you optimize your base, pay attention to their perks. So like Diet Lover on this guy, for example, not going to eat too much food. If you get to Positive Thinker, they're going to keep their sanity a little better. logging foreman. They're going to help out with whatever's going on in kind of your base. Pay attention to those little perks, because when you look at your party and see, you know, player defense, or, you know, if you just check any of these guys, Burly Body, he's got extra defense. This guy is going to do more damage to dragons. This guy is going to work 30% faster, but not do very much attack speed. So work slave, good guy to have at your base, bad guy to have on your team. Pay attention to the passive skills, because those are randomly rolled. You never quite know. I have Swift on this random little goo ball, and I would love to get Swift on a mount. Haven't got Swift on a mount yet. So anyway, as I said, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, leave a comment if you've got a couple pals that I didn't mention that you think are really good. More early game, you know, level 25 and below. I don't need to be talking about in-game crazy legendaries and stuff like that, but overall, there's so much to this game, and it's just got more depth than I thought it would. I've been having a blast. Hopefully you guys are too, and thank you guys for tuning in. Other than that, if you want to find me on Twitch or Twitter, it's Ebontis. But if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell. Hope to see you back in another video, and enjoy Palworld.